Hey, welcome back. Today we've got Cry of the Banshee, an AIP film. Now, Cry of the Banshee features exactly 0 banshees, so that's disappointing right off the bat. Um, AIP. AIP did, let's see, what did AIP do? They did The Haunted Palace, which wasn't very good. They did The Dunwich Horror, which was okay, but really disappointing considering how good the original story was. They also distributed a lot of other movies like Scream and Scream Again, which wasn't great. And they distributed The Witchfinder General, which was pretty decent. AIP is kind of like the American version of Hammer. Lots of period pieces taking place in the past. Very theatrical type movies. They seem like plays to me almost. So, Cry of the Banshee, what's this all about? Well, Vincent Price is in it. Here's a shot of Vincent Price from this particular movie. You know, he's good in it. He's a good actor. This came out a little bit after, let's see, it came out 2 years after The Witchfinder General. And 2 years after The Witchfinder General came out, we also had Mark of the Devil, which was like a Witchfinder General ripoff, except it was German, even though I still spoke English, but it was German and took place in the Austrian Empire. Holy Roman Empire, my bad. The Austrian section of the Holy Roman Empire. And it was more extreme. There was a lot more torture in Mark of the Devil. Mark of the Devil is actually really called Witches Tortured Till They Bleed, and I did talk about it earlier in the 1970 series here. So Cry of the Banshee is another witch-finding type of movie. And Vincent Price is in it again, and he was in The Witchfinder General. And the first half of this movie, I was just like, man, like another one of these? Like, I get it. Okay, they're all really similar. Somebody in a nice manner is like, you know, taking advantage of women, calling them witches, and, you know, killing them, poking them with skinny knives and stuff like that, see if it hurts them. And I was just like bored. But one thing that sets this apart, well, maybe two small things. One big thing, one small thing. Well, the main thing that sets this one apart from those other two movies is the fact that there actually are witches in this one. In The Witchfinder General and in Mark of the Devil, there are no witches. It's just people torturing women and accusing them of being witches. Okay? Well, in this one, the people they're accusing of being witches actually are witches, and it's kind of interesting because Vincent Price's character, who's like the leader of this rich household, he's not even part of the government or anything, but he actually doesn't believe that the women are witches, because he's just accusing women that he doesn't like of being witches, just like in the other two movies. But then like that, what you may be expecting is that it's like a torture type movie, but what happens is they kill a woman, and I think they kill her 2 kids because they were like a witch family. And then like the head witch gets pissed and she puts a curse on the guy's house. Ends up bewitching or possessing the guy's wife, Vincent Price's wife, who, you know, kind of goes crazy a little bit and kind of yells at people. Like, there's not much going on. It was directed by Gordon Hessler. Gordon Hessler also did Scream and Scream Again. Scream and Scream Again was not great, but it had that awesome chase scene in it. That was really good. It was like a really good 15 to 20 minute chase scene, in case you didn't watch that video. But after he did that, he did this. And I read an article saying that he was really disappointed with the script. He didn't like the script. And he tried to change it all around to make like the witches more interesting. And AIP told him, like, no, don't touch it. They told him you can change 10%, no more, of the script. So he did it anyway, and I guess he became very disappointed and said that of the 4 movies he did for AIP, this was his least favorite of the 4. The other ones were Scream and Scream Again. Technically that AIP wasn't the production company. They just distributed that in the U.S. because that was a British movie. This movie also takes place in England, but it wasn't even released theatrically in England. It was only released in the U.S. theatrically, even though it takes place in England, and it was actually produced by AIP England. So that's I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on that. Also, the other thing here is check this out. See there, it says Edgar Allan Poe probes new depths of terror. This is not an Edgar Allan Poe story. Okay, this is just some story written by people, and at the very beginning of it, they have a poem by Edgar Allan Poe like flash on the screen. The same thing happened with the Haunted Palace, which the Haunted Palace is the name of an Edgar Allan Poe poem, and they flashed that poem up on the screen, but it was actually an H.P. Lovecraft story adapted into a movie named after an Edgar Allan Poe poem. But anyway, to be honest with you, it's going to be hard for me to watch any more AIP movies. I didn't mention that Dorian Gray was also distributed by AIP, but since it was Italian, that wasn't the production company. But all these AIP movies are like, there's like a little bit of blood in them, but they're just like theatrical. Like, they're not scary. They're not even like dark. They're, which I certainly don't need a movie to be dark. I actually prefer when horror movies are not like physically dark. I actually like seeing everything. But in these AIP movies, there isn't much to see. There's no Banshee. You hear a cry, but it's a dog. It's like a bewitched dog howling, and the dog like kills some people off screen. Like, it's lots of off screen stuff. Look, I know in 1970 that's kind of how it was, but in Mark of the Devil, everything was on screen. There was a lot of torture on screen, and again, like, I don't really care about torture and gore and stuff that much. I would rather have either a good story or something surprising. But these AIP movies, they just churn them out, and it's like either an Edgar Allan Poe adaptation or something similar. They all take place in the past, and it's like the same stuff. Like, I don't think they really had enough effects. Like, which one was that? In Scream and Scream Again, like, they had vats of acid, but when they put people in it, the people just like went in it. It's just water. So it's a little disappointing. The one good one, which was distributed by AIP, was Die Monster Die, which I think I probably mentioned in a few different videos. There were cool like animatronic monsters in that. There were vines that choked people. There was glowing people. Like, obviously it wasn't an AIP production, but that one was actually cool. Also, AIP did put out the Amityville Horror in 1979, and that was good. But I mean, by the time they put that one out, that was 9 years after these. So we even had in Cauldron of Blood. We just talked about Cauldron of Blood, and that movie wasn't great, but like at least there was like cool like skeletal stuff, and like the guy, one person, like in a dream sequence, somebody's face rotted off. Like, give us something, okay? Like, I don't just need to see people wearing clothing from the 1500s and like yelling that someone has been bewitched. All right. Anyway, we got all sorts of different stuff left for 1970. I got a few more Italian movies. I got a few Japanese movies I'm going to watch soon. I'm excited to see some stuff from some other places because we've been having a whole lot of English and American stuff. I watched Bird with the Crystal Plumage early on for 1970, and it was so good, and I know I got a couple of giallos coming up, so those seem to be the high points of 1970 for the most part, so hopefully we got some good ones coming up. See you next time.